Welcome back to Elden Ring. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the 7 best faith build Ashes of War. So these will be scaled on like holy damage, faith, all that sort of stuff. And just to let you all know, I will start implementing more chapters in the videos. I put out a community post asking for feedback, and it seems as though a lot of viewers do typically like the idea of the chapters. So they will be available. And just quickly, before we do get any further into the video, if you're not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like. All support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description, and let's get into it. So the first Ash of War we are going to look at is Sacred Blade. You can get this Ash of War really early on, and if you're doing Catacombs, if you're taking down a Deathrite bird, any enemy that's weak to holy damage in the game, this is going to deal so much damage to them. If we take a standard enemy in Gatefront, so in Limgrave for an example, you will see that it deals 14 and 42. If we then go down to the Church of Pilgrimage, if we head to the west, you will see a skeleton, and if we use the Ash of War, 4,038 damage. So Deathrite birds, skeletons, they are weak to holy damage, and the Sacred Blade will just basically cast that like holy arc, and it deals a lot of damage standard, but to the enemies that are weak to it, it deals a significant amount of damage. If you want to get your hands on Sacred Blade, very early in the game, so Gatefront is over here, make your way along the path across the bridge, come up here to the Third Church of Marika, and then over here to the northwest, you will see a Spirit Spring, and at the bottom of that Spirit Spring, there is going to be a Teardrop Scarab. Take out the Scarab, you will get your hands on Sacred Blade. So, Ash of War number 2 for a faith build is going to be Holy Ground. This one can be applied to shields, it doesn't go on your weapons. And if you take a look at my health at the top left, it is very low. But also on the right hand side, if you look at my defense and my damage negation, it's sitting, I'm going to say an average of about 12. So if we use Holy Ground, watch my health at the top left. Is going to very slowly start coming back. But if we also have a look at the damage negation, it's now sitting at an average of about 30. So it's a very good Ash of War for defense. The only problem is, it puts a sigil on the ground, and as soon as you leave that, if we quickly have a look, my damage negation's around 30, leave the sigil and it instantly goes back down, you won't regen health. So it's static, it doesn't move around or anything, so it's incredibly situational. You have to have a really good spot to put this, and if you're in a tricky situation, it might not be the greatest. If you do want to get your hands on Holy Ground, you have to make your way up to the capital, and just on the very outskirts of the capital, you will see Oriza Hero's Grave is where you get the Tree Sentinel armor set, if you're familiar with that. If you've obtained the Tree Sentinel armor set, then you will have Holy Ground. You have to make your way through the grave, you have to destroy the chariots, and then you will obtain Holy Ground. So, Ash of War number 3 is Golden Land. This one is a little bit similar to Holy Ground. Holy Ground, you put a sigil on the floor, you use it on a shield, it's going to buff your damage negation and give you some health regen. Golden Land will put a brief sigil on the ground, but that's going to deal ticking damage, and then it's going to cast little beams that shoot at your enemies, and they deal pretty high damage. The Golden Land Ash of War can only be applied to greataxes, warhammers, and colossal weapons. So if we come down here, we put the sigil down, you'll see that damage, not too bad, obviously not amazing, it's not something that's like really overpowered. But with this giant dude, after he's done his slashes and stuff, I mean even standing back a little bit, put the sigil down, and then it's just going to spawn the little like beam things, and still deal over 1,000 damage. So if we let him come up the stairs a little bit, okay, preferably not get me killed. So if I put the sigil down, there you go. Didn't even need to use the little beams because he already died. So that is a look at Golden Land, one of the best faith build Ashes of War in Elden Ring. And if you want to get your hands on Golden Land, you do need to make your way to Deep Root Depths. if you come to the Great Waterfall Crest Site of Grace, if you head to the south, so as soon as you spawn in, like turn left, there will be an Erdtree avatar boss, but there is also a teardrop scarab, and the scarab will drop you the Golden Land Ash of War. So, Ash of War number 4 for a Faith build is going to be Prayerful Strike. This Ash of War can be applied to any axe or hammer, regardless of your Faith stat. Hitting with this Ash of War is going to regen 30% of your maximum HP. So if you've got 1500 HP, regardless of how much damage you've taken, when you hit with this, you're going to get 450 HP back. So if we come over here, take a look at my health at the top left. I'm going to use this Ash of War. And there you go. Big chunk of health back. It deals quite a lot of damage as well, which is really nice. So like with this guy, there we go, 1400 damage, 2 hits, I'm back to full health. If you want to get your hands on Prayerful Strike, again, actually quite similar to a lot of the faith-based Ashes of War, you're going to have to come up to the capital, and on the outskirts, the closest site of grace is the Outer Wall Phantom Tree. If you head east from there, you're going to see this little like lake, and it's got this like rocky terrain in the middle. Underneath this, you're going to see an invisible teardrop scarab, and it's just roaming around. If you use something like Hoarfrost Stomp, or if you just time your attack, even with like Rivers of Blood or something like that, as long as you time it correctly, take down that scarab, you will get your hands on Prayerful Strike. So, Ash of War number 5 is Golden Slam, and this one is just for fun. It's not going to deal huge amounts of damage, but you do kind of butt slam the ground with an AoE attack. So I put this on my greataxe. I believe it can go on most, if not all, weapons. So if we do use Golden Slam against this poor guy in Gatefront, let's have a look at this. Left trigger, and jump up in the air. You just smash your ass off the floor. It is so much fun to use this. Look at it. And it's a decent AoE attack as well. So if you do want to get your hands on Golden Slam, again we're heading up to the capital for this Ash of War. Past the capital outskirts, in the Altus Plateau region, if you come to Altus Tunnel, and you make your way north, you do have Woodfolk Ruins, and it's right around here. There's a little ruins, you'll hear a teardrop scarab, and all you've got to do is defeat the scarab and you'll get your hands on Golden Slam. So, the penultimate Ash of War for Faith builds in Elden Ring is Golden Vow. This works very similar to the incantation, but it's not the incantation, it is an Ash of War. I've put it on my greataxe again, I believe it goes on pretty much any weapon in the game. And it does work similar to the incantation, but it doesn't last as long. This is going to last about 45 seconds. It is faster to cast than the incantation, and you do get it much earlier in the game. If you pair this with something like the Jellyfish Shield, you will get huge damage from it. Just so that you can see the difference in the incantation and the Ash of War, if I use my left bumper to use my sill, you'll see we go to the ground, then we come up and we use Golden Vow. If I then just press my left trigger and use the skill, you will see that there's not all of that like crouching down and then standing back up and casting it. So now I've reset everything. If I come over to this guy, I crouch, I do a standard attack, just a right bumper light attack, it deals 665. If we reset that enemy and then cast Golden Vow, so if I cast it now, because it does last for about 45 seconds, you'll see the yellow aura around your body. Then I come over and we do a right bumper attack again, it goes up to 741. So it's a nice increase on your damage, it will last about 45 seconds, it's faster to cast than the incantation, and you get it much earlier in the game. In terms of the Ash of War, down in Limgrave, if you come to Stormhill Shack and then make your way along, and you come to Saint's Bridge, that's like the nearest site of grace unless you want to come down into the Death-Touched Catacombs. I mean, realistically, you could go to Warmaster's Shack. I think that might actually be quite a lot closer. I don't know, you guys are going to have to make your mind up on the distance, but if you come up here, and you come round to this corner, so it's above the catacombs, right here where my, like, pinpoint thing is, like where my marker is right now, I'll place a beacon, there is going to be a Godric Knight. Once you take that knight down, you will get your hands on the Golden Vow Ash of War. So, Ash of War number 7, the final one in this video for faith builds, is Sacred Order. When you use this Ash of War, it's available to apply on all melee armaments in the game. For 30 seconds, you're going to get a bonus 10% holy damage, which again, for the skeletons, the Deathrite birds, is going to be amazing. If I come to this enemy again in Gatefront, we seem to bully this poor guy, but I do a standard attack, it deals 665. If I go and reset him, also taking a look at the attack power, you'll see right armament number 1, 768. If I use Sacred Order, and once it has buffed the weapon, it lasts 30 seconds, that 768 goes up to 845. So again, if we come over to this enemy, do a standard right bumper attack, you're going to hit for 731. So it's a nice damage buff. As I said, last 30 seconds. It's going to be so helpful for any faith build that you are putting together, especially if you're going into the catacombs against the skeletons, or you're taking down the Deathrite birds. And again, in the Altus Plateau region, so outside of the capital, if you make your way to the abandoned coffin site of Grace, you are going to follow this path at the shore of this little lake, and it's around this sort of section here. There is again going to be a teardrop scarab. Once you've taken out the scarab, you will obtain Sacred Order. So that was a look at the 7 best Elden Ring faith build Ashes of War, and what we're going to do is leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about these Ashes of War in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.